Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel Rapid Chemistry. I am Ranjan Das. Today would like to discuss with you the chapter electrolysis. The electrolysis, the chapter we have started last day, and today we will do the second part or the another part of this chapter. In the last class, we have had a discussion on introduction with difference between metallic conductors and the electrolytic conductors, the terms involved in this chapter, that is electrolysis, electrolytes, strong electrolytes, weak electrolytes, okay, and then the differences between the strong and weak electrolytes, non-electrolytes, acid base salts, and the different kind of electrolytes and their comparison. And we have discussed all this in the last unit, and including what is electrolytic cell, electrochemical cell, electrodes, cathodes, anodes. Okay, so we have discussed all this in the last day, and today we'll start from the this part, electrochemical series of metals. Today we'll start from the electrochemical series of metals. We know the metals have the tendency to release electron and to become cations. As you know, sodium can easily convert it to Na plus, okay, and zinc can easily convert it to Zn2 plus. Copper can also convert it to Cu2 plus and Ag2 Ag plus, but the ease with which they are forming cations is not same for all the metals. And generally it has been found that the elements like potassium, calcium, sodium, magnesium, that is, these are the top elements having more tendency to form cations. That is, they are easily formed. And you know why it occurs? Due to less ionization energy. Okay, so all the metals, generally important metals, okay, and one non-metal is there and here, and that is hydrogen. So depending on the ease with which the metals can lose electron to form cations, one series of metal has been made, and that is named as electrochemical series of metals. Okay, so let's go through the definition once as it is given here. Based on the ease with which atoms of metals lose electrons to form positively charged ions, the metals are arranged in a series known as the electrochemical series. And we have to remember the order of these metals given here. So as you go down, the reactivity order of the metals decreases, and you know, and also the tendency to form cations also decreases. So and here, and that means the metals which are above the hydrogen in the activity series, okay, they are more reactive than hydrogen, and the metals the below the hydrogen, they are comparatively less reactive. Okay, now I would like to discuss some important facts of the metals in this electrochemical series. And the point number one, a metal with a higher position in the series displaces the one with a lower position. That means one metal which is placed above, that is say for zinc can displace copper, but the reverse is not true. Okay, if there is a reaction in between zinc and copper sulfate, zinc can displace copper, as zinc is placed above the copper in the activity series, zinc and copper. But the reverse is not true. In the reaction between copper and zinc sulfate, copper cannot displace zinc. Metals below hydrogen cannot displace hydrogen from acids, while those above it can. So I can give it with an example. Let's see here. That is, zinc can displace hydrogen from acid to form gas hydrogen, but copper cannot. The first reaction is possible, but the second one is not, because copper is placed below the hydrogen in the activity series here. Number 3, elements lower in the series get discharged more easily at the cathode during electrolysis. We will study, that means the elements which placed at the lower position in the activity series, they having high tendency to get discharged at the cathode. Okay. Number 4, metals atom which form their ions most easily will accept the electrons back to form the atom with greatest difficulty. That means the upper elements. Okay. Number 5, hydrogen has some properties of metal, example of the formation of a positive ion. Thus its position amongst metal confirms its identity with metals. Therefore it has been placed along with metals in the series. Now we also have to know electrochemical series of the anions. The anions are also forming a series, and can you see the only few ions, that is anions, are there here: sulfate, nitrate, chloride, bromide, iodide and hydroxyl. And in these series, as you go down, okay, increasing ease of oxidation, that is their oxidation increasing, okay, increasing ease of discharge, increasing ease of discharge. So what is the fact about electrochemical series of anions? Lower the position of an anion in the series, more easily it gets discharged at the anode. That means, and where that is 2 anions are there, then the question is raised, which anion will get discharged first. So then we have to decide the anion which is placed lower, and that would have the tendency to get discharged first. Okay. And higher the position of an anion in the series, okay, like sulfate, nitrate, okay, it is more difficult for it to lose electrons or get oxidized. So actually we have to remember these 2 points. And the next one, the very important point here in the electrolysis, preferential or selective discharge of ions at electrodes. Preferential or selective discharge of ions at electrodes. Actually the article deals with when 2 or more ions are there, 2 or more similar kind of ions, that means cations or anions are there, and which one will get discharged at the respective electrode. And that would be decided by the electrochemical series. That would be decided by electrochemical series, and how we will discuss. Okay, let us start taking one example, the relative position of ions in the electrochemical series. Say, so whenever we are doing electrolysis of copper sulfate solution in aqueous medium, and we have the copper ion and hydrogen ion both, okay, as cation, and as anion we have sulfate ion and hydroxyl ion. And what will happen? So both the ions are there, but both the ions will not get discharged at the cathode and the anode. Then, so here cations present Cu2 plus and H plus, and the anions present SO4 minus and OH minus. As in between Cu2 plus and H plus is above in compared to copper, and so copper ion is placed below, so that one will get discharged, and that is the law here. Okay, copper ion will get discharged at the respective electrode, and that is here cathode. Okay, and at anode the same law is there. So in between hydroxyl and sulfate, we have studied just now, and the hydroxyl is placed below than the sulfate, and that's why hydroxyl will get discharged first. Okay, so hydroxyl and how it will discharge, it has been shown nicely here. So and here at the cathode we are getting Cu, not hydrogen, and at the anode we are getting OH, and OH changes to oxygen finally, and not the sulfate. Now we will discuss preferential discharge based on the relative position of the ions in respect to the electrochemical series. So say the dilute copper sulfate solution is taken, that one we did just now. So copper sulfate ionizes to copper ion and sulfate ion, and as water is there in the solution, and that will also get ionized partially. So what are the cations available there? Copper ion and hydrogen ion. And what will happen at the cathode? So, and in between these two ions, so which one at the below, and copper ion, and that's why that will discharge fast. Okay, so copper ion takes up electron to form copper at the cathode, and the ions migrate to anode. Sulfate and hydroxyl both will migrate, but which one at the below? Hydroxyl, so that will get discharged. Okay, so you are getting oxygen at the anode. So that is all about of copper sulfate aqueous solution preferential discharge. And the next one, number 2, let's see here, dilute NaCl solution. Dilute NaCl solution, what are the ions present? Na plus, Cl minus, H plus, OH minus. So out of these two cations, Na plus and H plus, we know H plus is placed below the hydrogen, below in compared to Na plus. So that one will preferentially discharge at the cathode. Okay, and in between Cl and OH minus, and Cl and minus and OH minus both are there, but as OH minus is at the below in compared to Cl negative, so that will get discharged at the anode and you will get oxygen. And the third one here, if concentrated NaCl solution is taken, and a different result can be obtained here, and that is, and there is nothing another for cathode the same phenomena is to there, that is the hydrogen will discharge, but anode so in between Cl negative and OH negative, we have seen here that OH negative having more tendency to get discharge anode, but if the concentration of the electrolyte is more, like as it is written, concentrated NaCl solution, then that rule of preferential discharge of anions will not follow. Okay, so then it has been found the ion which is more in the concentrated electrolyte, that is like here Cl negative, and that is expected to discharge. Okay, so that is exception here, you must have to remember this point. Now we shall discuss some electrolysis of different salts here. So the first one here is electrolysis of molten lead bromide. Lead bromide, PbBr2. So molten lead bromide, not aqueous, that is water is not there. So molten lead bromide, and such arrangement is made, and the electrolytic cell is crucible made of silica, and their lead ions are there. Can you see Pb2 plus and the Br minus, and that must be in the molten stage. Okay, not in the aqueous stage. So the electrodes, the cathode and anode are both are made of graph plates which are inert in nature. Okay, they are connected by copper wires to the two ends of a battery. So what are the ions present? And only two ions, lead ion and the bromide ion. So electrode reaction very simple at the cathode. So lead ion takes up 2 electron and get reduced to form the lead metal, and at the anode bromide releases 1 electron to form Br neutral atom, and that instantly combine to form Br2 molecule. So the overall reaction of the electrolysis of lead bromide is lead bromide in the molten state, and that is this. So the observation coming out from this experiment, dark reddish brown fumes of bromine evolve at the anode, and the silvery gray metal lead is formed on the cathode. And the explanation is very easy. Here two important points which we have to remember here regarding the electrolysis of molten lead bromide. The number 1, silica. Silica is a non-reactive, hence the electrolytic cell is made of silica. Okay, it can withstand very high temperature and is almost a non-conductor of electricity, and that's why the silica crucible is heated slowly from outside. And the solid lead bromide is a non-conductor of electric current, since its ions are not free but held together by electrostatic force of attraction. And the second point we have to remember here regarding the electrolysis of that one. So graphite anode is preferred. Why? Graphite anode is preferred to other inert electrodes such as platinum since graphite is unaffected by the reactive bromine vapor, and you know the bromine vapor is produced at the anode, so the something which is produced there, okay, the electrode should be inert towards that. And the next electrolysis here we will discuss, and that is electrolysis of acidified water using platinum electrode. Acidified water, you know, the pure water, it cannot be electrolyzed due to lack of ions, and pure water is a covalent compound, so electrolysis is not possible. But acidified water, small amount of acid, and the acid H2SO4 can be taken, and you know why? Because H2SO4 is a non-volatile acid, so that point is written here, okay, just read out once. So what are the electrodes taken here? Platinum foils which are inert connected by the copper wires, and the arrangement is given here. Can you see here? Okay, and that is all about the electrolysis of acidified water. So the cathode, anode, and platinum electrodes are taken, and the acid diluted water is electrolyzed, and you know at the cathode we are getting hydrogen, more hydrogen, less oxygen. Okay, so the amount of hydrogen has been found to be twice as that of oxygen, and the reactions involved there we can see here. So at the very first, water ionizes partially to form H plus and OH minus, and in the meantime as acids are there, so acid will also ionize. So we have H plus as cations, and as anions we have OH minus and sulfate. So at cathode, so as only H plus is there as cation, so at the cathode easily hydrogen gets discharged. But what occurs at anode? So at anode, so preferential discharge will occur, as we have studied few minutes back, that in between sulfate and hydroxyl. So hydroxyl is placed below in the reactivity series of anions, that is activity series of anions. So OH negative is preferred to discharge at the anode. Okay, so we are getting oxygen at the anode. So that is all about the electrolysis of acid related water. But one thing we must have to remember here, as it is mentioned there, the ratio of hydrogen to oxygen is 2:1. Okay, so if 2 ml hydrogen is obtained and oxygen obtained would be 1 ml. Okay, and the final reaction of electrolysis of water gives 2 volumes of hydrogen and 1 volumes of oxygen. And next, electrolysis of copper sulfate solution using platinum anode and copper or platinum cathode. So here the arrangement is given here: copper sulfate solution saturated and acidified. Okay, the platinum anode and the platinum or copper cathode can be taken to carry out the electrolysis here. And what will happen here? So copper sulfate ionizes to form copper ion sulfate ion, and the water ionizes to form hydrogen and hydroxyl ion. So the ions are present there. These are the ions present. Okay, and the at cathode undoubtedly the copper ion will get discharged. Okay, so as copper ion placed below. Okay, and the reaction at the anode. So anode sulfate ion and hydroxyl both are there, and you know, that is hydroxyl ion will discharge at the anode, and we are getting oxygen. Okay, so product at cathode, pink or reddish brown copper is deposited. When the deposition of copper ion is completed, electrolysis of water takes place. Hydrogen gas is liberated at the cathode, and the oxygen gas starts to liberate at the anode. Okay, one more electrolysis, and that is I think most important, and electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate using copper electrode. And here copper electrode is active electrode, that is it can take part in the electrolysis process, and how, and we will discuss here step by step. So electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate solution, the electrolyte taken aqueous copper sulfate, the electrode cathode copper, anode copper, both are copper. Okay, so what will happen at the cathode? No change is there as it was earlier. So cathode same thing is observed, that is the copper ion, and copper ion get discharged at the cathode, Okay, but at anode, so neither of these two ions, that is sulfate and hydroxyl, will get discharged. Okay, at anode what will happen? So the active anode here, the copper anode, will decay itself to form copper ion. Okay, so the point, and here it is written, read out once. Sulfate and hydroxyl ions migrate to anode, but neither of them are discharged due to nature of the anode. Okay, as it is a active. Okay, copper anode itself ionizes to give copper ions. Copper loses electron more easily than sulfate and hydroxyl. So the reaction at cathode, it was same as it was earlier, but reaction of anode, and that is a different thing. And here the anode copper plate itself will get decay. So that is the exception part from the rest of the electrolysis. So we must have to keep in mind that one. Okay. Now one important question, the question is raised here. The blue color of aqueous copper sulfate solution remains unchanged during the electrolysis due to copper electrodes. And why it is so? So we can discuss here. Reason: for every copper ion discharge at the cathode, neutral copper atom at copper ion is released. That means, so copper ion get discharged at the cathode, but in the meantime the anode itself get decayed to form copper ion. That means the solution having copper ion, and the copper ion, and you know that is the ion responsible for the color of the solution, and that's why the blue color does not fade. Okay. In this electrolysis, H plus ion and the sulfate ions and OH ions do not take part in the electrolytic reaction and are known as spectator ions. Okay, keep in mind that one. So the next, we have some in-text questions in your book, and you must go through all these in details. And if you have anything to say, definitely knock me and I will definitely help you. So on the next part here, and the last part of this chapter, and that is here application of electrolysis. So electrolysis, we have studied electrolysis. So now we will know what are the applications. The applications, it can be electroplating, electro-refining, and the extraction of metals, which is said to be electrometallurgy. So these are the three important uses and the applications of electrolysis. The first one, we will discuss electroplating. So you know what electroplating is all about? Electroplating is, you know, the plating of certain metal like gold, silver, nickel, chromium, okay, over some another base metal. So that deposition on can be made by using electrolysis. So let's go through the electroplating and the definition once. The electroplating is a process in which a thin film of a metal like gold, silver, nickel, chromium, etc. gets deposited on another metallic article with the help of electricity. Okay, and how it is done, and we will discuss here, taking one example of electroplating of an article with silver. Let's see here that one, electroplating of an article with silver. So here just look at the figure here. So one article is there, and that is to be electroplated, say a teaspoon. Okay, so the article which is to be electroplated, that is to be used as cathode. Okay, keep in mind that one. So the article which is to be electroplated, and that is to be used as cathode, and the metal with which the electroplating is to be done, and that is to be anode, and here silver, because we are going to plate the silver over this article. Okay, plating of silver over this article. And the DC source is there, the battery. Okay, one ammeter is also placed in series there, and the electrolytic solution is generally taken, and solution of sodium argentocyanide here. The electrolyte, you have to remember the sodium argentocyanide, and that is taken, and during electroplating of silver. Okay, so electroplating of a brass spoon with silver here taken. So it can be brass, it can be iron, or anything else. So what will happen there? sodium argento cyanide will form ions. So these are the reactions will occur mainly, the dissociation. So sodium argento cyanide, the electrolyte, will ionizes, and the water will also a bit, because water solution is taken. That the cathode, so there are sodium ion, Ag plus, silver ion, hydrogen ion, but out of these three, silver ion is at the lowest position in the activity series among these three, and that's why at the cathode Ag plus will get discharged. Okay, so Ag plus will get discharged over the article there, which is used as cathode. Okay, and at anode the pure clean silver rod is to be used, as I have said, and that will get decayed to form silver ion. So anode, so whatever silver ions are there, and those are getting deposited over the article as cathode. So the rule here is, that is, the object which is to be electroplated, and that is always cathode, and the metal with which the electroplating is to be done, and that should be anode, and here anode will decay. Okay, similarly, if we discuss electroplating with nickel, okay, so article to be electroplated, that one is to be used as cathode, as we have discussed, and as it is to be electroplated with nickel, the nickel anode is to be used, because and that will produce nickel ion, and which will in turn get deposited over the article. And the electrolytes, there must be a salt having that metal which is to be electroplated over the article. So here nickel sulfate solution. So electroplating of an article with nickel has been shown here nicely, and the reactions involved. Ni, nickel sulfate and water ionizes, and nickel ion and other hydrogen ions. Okay, and what will be there? The block of pure nickel metal, and here used as anode, and the cathode, as we have studied here right now. At cathode, the nickel ion discharged, that is deposited, and at anode the nickel rod which is there, and that will decay to form nickel ions. Okay, so and that nickel ion in turn actually get deposited over the article which is used as cathode. And the next here we have to remember this three important note point is given. So article to be plated is always kept at the cathode. I have discussed that one. The electrolyte must be in solution of a salt of metal to be electroplated, and the anode is made up of strip of metal to be plated. Okay, so we have discussed all this point earlier. So the last one here we'll discuss the electrolytic refining of metals. The refining of copper metal can be done using electrolysis. The refining of copper metal can be done using electrolysis. Okay, so and for that the arrangement is there. So electrolyte, a solution of copper sulfate and dilute sulfuric acid, and the cathode, thin strip of pure copper is to be taken, and the anode, the slabs of impure copper, and that slabs of impure copper will form copper ions, and that is anode will decay, and so and those copper ions will get discharged over the cathode. Okay, so that is there. So reaction of cathode and anode, simple reaction. The copper ions will discharge at the cathode, and those copper ions will come in the solution from the anode or decay of anode. Okay, so the impure anode will get decayed to form copper ion, and all those copper ion will get discharged over the thin sheet of pure copper. Okay, so that's how we can get the pure copper, and that can be almost 99.9% pure. Okay, so metal like some other metal like zinc, lead, mercury, silver and copper are refined by that kind of process, and which is said to be the refining of the metals. Okay, so on the next and the very last part here is electrometallurgy. So in the electrometallurgy, the some active metals like sodium, potassium, aluminum, magnesium, and these are electrolyzed, and electrolyzed, to here let's see, say the electrolyte fused potassium bromide is taken for the extraction of potassium metal. So generally all the metals which are placed at the upper side of the activity series like potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, and those are generally extracted by using electrolysis. Okay, so if you take the fused KBr, you are getting the potassium. Okay, if you are taking sodium chloride, fused sodium chloride, water is always avoided. Okay, so their sodium is discharged at the cathode. Okay, for magnesium, so and even for alumina, and we will discuss that one in metallurgy. So aluminium, so potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, these active metals can be extracted by electrolysis, and that is said to be electrometallurgy. So that's it from this chapter, electrolysis, and we have completed the chapter in 2 units, and now it's your turn. Just go through the chapter very nicely and knock me while you are having problem. Okay, and I will definitely try to sort it out, and we'll get it clear to you. Okay, so thank you all, keep watching the video and be updated with chemistry.